Hello everyone. So I'm going to invite you to find a comfortable seat on your mat and just begin by inhaling and exhaling, softening the belly, allowing belly to expand as we inhale and drawing belly button towards spine to help fully expel all that breath. So today's practice is a yin yoga style class. So it's not strictly yin yoga. In yin, you hold the postures for 3 to 5 minutes, which just allows you to really get deep into the connective tissue, really feel that stretch. We'll be holding the postures for maybe a minute. There will be less postures. It's going to move a little slower, but I think you will get some benefits from this as you would any yoga class. Also, plenty modifications available. Don't fear the yin, it's all good. So as we sit here and begin to bring the focus internally, begin to take the breath into the middle part of the lungs. So on your inhale, allow belly then rib cage to expand, and as you exhale, draw in the ribs, draw in the belly. Breathing in 2 distinct parts. And just begin to take a mental scan of your body. Check in with yourself. See how you're feeling today and be okay with where you showed up. Keep an open mind. Yoga is not about self-judgment. It's about getting in touch with your body, giving it what it needs. And if something doesn't feel right, then pick a modification or just take a break or try a different posture for several breaths. I have faith in you guys. You will all be able to do this. So stay positive. And just take this next hour to be present, to give your body what it's craving, no matter what's going on elsewhere. So bringing in the third and final part of our 3-part breath. As you inhale, allow belly, then ribcage, then collarbones to expand. As you exhale, collarbones fall, ribs draw in, belly button pulls in. Just getting the sense as you take these deep cleansing breaths that you are filling up your lungs from bottom to top and emptying from top to bottom. Just take one more full deep breath. And then allow the breathing to be natural without too much thought. And we'll just begin by moving into the hips a little bit. We will be sitting for a while. So I would like to just kind of give us a little motion here so the low back doesn't tighten up. So just bring your feet about mat width apart, and then just begin to allow your knees to kind of fall from side to side. No need to force the knees down to the floor. Just let them land wherever they land. And the next time the knees come over to the right, we'll pause there. And I want you to take your left hand and push it on the back of your left hip and kind of ease that hip forward. If it helps, just take your feet a little bit wider so your knees can have room to lower. And then just begin to move this hip back and forward with the breath, perhaps inhaling as you push hip forward, exhaling as it moves back. Just moving with your own breath. The next time the hips come forward, just pause. Perhaps turn your gaze towards the back of your space, feeling a stretch down this left side of the neck. If you're enjoying this stretch as is, feel free to just hold this for a few more breaths. If you would like to go a little deeper into the twist, just release this left hand and take it behind you. So you will place it next to your right hand on the mat. So you're in a spinal twist looking back towards the back of the room. So feel free to stay here, or one more option is just to lower onto the forearms, just taking yourself a little bit deeper into this stretch. So you pick whatever feels right to you. Just take one more breath here. And then bring yourself back up onto the palms of your hands. And just use this left arm to sweep you around and come back to face the front. And then allow the knees to drop side to side once more. And the next time the knees come over to the left side, just come all the way over here, trying to bring the knees a little lower towards the floor. Bringing right hand to hip. Inhale and ease your hip forward. Exhale, allow it to move back. So again, just gently moving into this hip area. Moving with the rhythm of your own breath. And the next time you push the hips forward, pause there. Maybe just taking your gaze towards the back of your space. Feeling a nice stretch down this right side of the neck. Choosing to stay here or releasing your right hand and placing it next to left hand on the mat. So you're kind of in an upright twist looking towards the back of the room. Staying here if that feels right to you, or perhaps lowering onto the forearms, allowing head to hang loose. Breathing into that twist. And then slowly making your way upright onto the palms of both hands and using your right arm, sweeping it around, guiding yourself back to face front. So here's where we will begin to hold the postures for a little while. So we'll begin with bound angle. So you're going to bring the soles of your feet together and allow your knees to fall out to the side. Try to keep a nice straight spine initially. If it helps, you can actually take your arms and bring them behind you and kind of use them as props to push your back nice and tall. Just letting gravity work on your hips. So if this is very uncomfortable for you, another option is to move your feet further forward. This will allow you to sit further forward on the sit bones and allow you to keep that straight spine. So you pick. The option is to keep the spine straight, or on an exhale, just begin to round the back, bringing head a little lower. Allowing the spine to round, allowing gravity to help you here. So we'll be holding this for the next several breaths. So just pick whichever option feels good. You should not be in pain. And as you breathe slowly and deeply, you should feel yourself perhaps just work a little deeper into the posture, feeling the muscles begin to relax a little more, the tendons beginning to enjoy this stretch. Just keep breathing deeply, slowly, evenly. If you cannot take slow, deep breaths, that is a signal that maybe you're pushing yourself a little too hard and just to back off a little bit or take one of the options. So just bear that in mind. This should be a nice, relaxing practice. The key is get yourself into the posture to the point where you feel like you're just on the edge. Where if you stretch a little more, it might bother you, but you're not there yet. Breathe into the areas of deep sensation, and as you hold the posture, you should find that you can inch yourself a little deeper into whatever posture it is we are holding. And begin to slowly bring your spine up nice and tall. So we're going to move into a wide angle stance here. What I would suggest, if you can, obviously this is the full expression of the wide angle fold. You can have your legs a little closer together, you can bend the knees, or one more option is to work with one leg at a time. This is often a little easier for people. It's actually harder for me because I have issues with my knees and hips, but if this works for you, I will tell you when to switch sides. So just begin with your left leg in, your right leg out. Otherwise, come to a full straddle or any one of the other options, keeping a straight spine. Just lean forward till you feel that stopping point. And just breathe. Think about sending your breath to the hamstring area in the back of the legs. If you can, your feet are flexed. So we will be holding this for a few breaths, but we'll be working side to side. So all together we'll probably be here for a couple of minutes. You may find that you can get yourself a little lower, maybe even coming onto the forearms. Even if you move a half an inch more, you are still getting deeper into the fold. Just to remind you again, you should not be in pain. You should be able to breathe slowly, deeply, evenly. Your body will respond if you don't push too hard. If you just take yourself to that edge and think about sending your breath to that area of deep sensation. Obviously, breath will not go into your hamstrings, but if you think about that, you kind of send energy there and you help that area just relax and release. So we'll just stay here for a few more breaths. I'm not going to tell you how many because you guys will start counting, I know this. Let me do the counting for you. You just focus on your own body and how it feels. So we'll begin to walk over to the right side. Again, try to keep your back upright and straight if you want, or you can just round the spine. This will take you a little deeper into the stretch. So if you do have one leg bent in, obviously you're stretching out towards the straight leg. While we hold the postures, you could also think about adding the Ujjayi breath, the one where you kind of constrict the throat and close it off slightly so you can hear your breath whisper up and down your throat. This may help to keep the breathing slow and steady. Just an option. And whenever you're ready, we'll twist a little bit here, maybe bringing your hand to the inside of this leg. And finding a side stretch here. It's less about collapsing over, more about stretching long. So you'll be feeling a good stretch in the hamstring, but also a stretch to the side of the body here. Take one more breath here. And then bring yourself back up to center. If you were working with the single leg extension, bend your other leg in, extend your opposite leg out. Sit yourself nice and tall, and then come back into this forward fold. So we will just be repeating everything on the other side. Try to just gradually inch yourself, maybe even a quarter inch at a time. A little further forward with the breath. You'll see that edge change, so that you can just work a little deeper. Hold that for a breath or two. If you are practicing in the morning like I am, you probably will be a little stiffer than if you practiced later on in the day, so also bear that in mind. And just begin to walk your hands around to this left side. I'm reaching for my foot. That is not necessary. Maybe your hands are here, maybe you're more upright and your hands are on your thigh. It does not matter. You do you. Work with what seems to feel good in your own body. It does not matter what I look like. Everybody is at different stages of their life, different fitness levels, different flexibilities. Yoga is your own personal practice. Take one more full, slow breath here. And then just bring your arm to the inside of the leg, finding that side stretch. Reaching fingertips as far away as you can, keeping feet flexed. Feeling that expansion in the rib cage, breathing into that area. Just try to hang in here for 2 or 3 more breaths. And on your next inhale, just bring yourself upright. Maybe bring your legs out front. Give them a little shake. Yes, my body is talking to me too. It always does. So we'll be moving on to hands and knees here. So I will be turning to give you a side view. So I always say this, but just make sure your joints are stacked. Wrists, elbows, shoulders in line, knees and hips in line. We'll just loosen up the spine again with a little cat dog. It doesn't matter if your toes are hooked or unhooked here. Just inhale, belly lowers, tailbone and chin tip up. And as you exhale, you will arch your back and tuck in chin and tailbone. So if you like, try to begin each movement with the tailbone. So exhaling, tuck tailbone, round the back, and then tuck your chin, coming into cat. Inhaling, tip up your tailbone, belly lowers, chin tips up. Like a little wave moving across your spine. If it does feel good to hold a particular stretch along the way, just feel free to hold that stretch for a breath or 2. Just make sure you're not holding your breath. Keep breathing. We'll just do one more. Really exhale, arching the back. And then come to a neutral spine. So work with a little bit of a balance here. Some of you may know it as bird dog or balancing table. So let's bring our right leg, left leg behind. Push it out. So you want to keep your leg about hip height and flex your heel. Pushing out through the heel, toes pointing down. So this may be enough for you. We will be holding for only about 6 to 8 breaths here. If you want to add more of a balance, you can extend the opposite arm forward. You can engage the core a little more by moving about a 1/2 inch forward on that supporting hand. If it doesn't feel good in your shoulder, just shift back. I know this is a little challenging, but it's good to challenge yourself. Remember, your hand can be down on the mat. You can have both hands down for more support. If you're shaking like I am, don't worry. It's just the sacred quiver of yoga. Just kidding. Just means you're working hard. Take one more breath. Lower the palm of your hand if that was raised. Keep your leg where it is and then begin to cross it behind you. So you're taking your leg over towards the right side. And you're kind of creating a little curve in the spine by looking back towards that foot. Now you can be on the ball of the foot or the top of the foot can be down on the floor. And we'll just hold this for a few breaths. Begin to release that foot, bring it behind you, and then come onto both knees. Just kind of shift around, reset your tabletop here. And we'll work with the opposite side. So take your right leg, extend it out back, keep it about at hip height, flex your foot, pushing out through the heel, sending energy out there. Core is tight to stabilize your body. Both hands can stay on the mat, or you can reach this opposite hand forward, maybe shift a ½ inch, engaging that core a little more. Focus on your breath. Slow, deep breaths. If you are choosing the Ujjayi breath, you may hear your breath whispering up and down the throat. I am finding this posture challenging, in case you're wondering. If you need to come in and out of it, please do so. I can't see you anyway, so I don't know what you guys are doing. Hopefully you're holding along with me, embracing the suck. This is all good for you. It's good to challenge yourself. Push yourself just to that edge. Slowly lowering your arm if it was extended. We'll bring the foot across behind us, placing either the ball of the foot or the top of the foot on the mat. And looking back towards that foot, finding a C curve in the spine. Take one more full breath here. And then bring yourself back to tabletop. So we'll be working with puppy or melting heart and then sinking back into child. While we're holding the puppy stretch, if you feel like you'd rather just sink the hips back and come into child's pose, that will be your option. If you want to try puppy, from the tabletop, you'll just bring your forearms down. And then just begin to sink your hips back. They're not going to sink all the way back, but you will allow the upper arms to come a little closer to the mat. Keep your forearms and your palms grounded. And then bring your head down to the mat. You should feel a nice stretch across the upper back, shoulder area. Again, if you have shoulder issues or you're not enjoying this, you can just sink the hips back and come into child's pose. Also, if it's not comfortable to rest your head on the mat, you can make a fist with one of your hands. You'll get a little less stretch down the shoulders, but maybe you can alternate and do one arm then the other for a few breaths, maybe 3 or 4 breaths each arm. Breathing into that upper back shoulder area. Take one more breath. And then begin to sink the hips back. You'll allow your arms to move back a little bit, but keep them fairly extended here. And once your hips reach your heels, maybe you want to bring your knees a little bit wider to allow room for the belly. That's okay. You can shift around a little bit till you get comfortable. And you can remain here in extended child, tenting the fingers, maybe bringing the palms of the hands up and arms acting like cables between your wrists and shoulders. Again, breathe into that upper back area. If you prefer a more resting version, you can sweep your arms behind you, palms up, resting hands next to feet, allowing shoulders to fall forward. If you do have the arms extended out front, I'm going to offer the option of a little side stretch. If you would like to take me up on that, just walk your hands over to the left, plant the right palm down on the mat, and create a little pullback so that you create some tension down the arm and that left side of the body. So, right side, excuse me. Keeping the palm where it is, take your left arm behind you, place it palm up on the mat, and breathe into that right side of the body. One more breath here. And then bring both hands up front and start to walk your hands over towards the right side, connecting left palm to mat, pulling back a little bit, but don't let that hand move. Creating a little stretch down this left side of the body. Bringing right arm behind you, palm up, resting next to your foot and resting head on the mat. If head doesn't rest comfortably on the mat, you can actually kind of rest it on your upper arm or make a fist with the right hand and just kind of rest your head on your fist. Bottom line is this should be comfortable, you should be enjoying a stretch, and you should be able to relax and breathe deeply. One more breath here. And walk your hands back to center. Make your way back up to tabletop and just ensure that your hands are a little forward of your shoulders. We'll be making our way into downward facing dog. Your legs are probably itching to stretch out right now. So keeping your palms grounded, just begin to raise your hips. Once you're in that kind of upside down V, there's several adjustments you can make to help hold this posture comfortably. Push your heels towards your mat. Push into the palms of your hands so that your chest moves back towards your thighs. You want to make sure your tailbone tips up and back, creating a little sway to the low back like we did with the dog posture earlier. And then take your attention to your shoulder blades. You want to try to draw them down your back and then wrap them forward. What that will do is turn your armpits ever so slightly towards one another. And all this is designed to help keep a straight spine. If you need to bend your knees to keep a straight back, then you can have a slight or a generous bend in the knees. Your heels are pushing towards the mat, but it's not necessarily the goal to push them all the way down. Just push them in that general direction. So we will try to hold here for about 6 to 8 more breaths. Hang in there if you need to take a break and just release to tabletop for a moment and then come back up. Whenever you're ready, you can do that. The next posture we will be coming into will be pigeon. So I'm going to come into pigeon in a breath or two. If you already know that pigeon is not your pose, or once you make your way in there you find you're too uncomfortable, I will show you an option on your back, which is the figure 4 stretch. So just take another breath or two here. And if you already know figure 4 stretch and you already know you're going to take that option, begin to make your way down to the mat and come onto your back. If you are trying pigeon with me, just kind of come into a plank here and then bring your left knee forward and kind of hover it for a second. Then you're going to lower the knee to the inside of your left hand, release your foot to the inside of the thigh and extend your right leg long. And bring yourself up here, shoulders back. And then from here, you will keep some space here between this left hip and the mat. You want to avoid rolling onto your hips, so there will be space. If it helps, you can actually shove a rolled up towel under there. So gently place a rolled up towel under your hips for support. Otherwise, just begin to fold forward as you exhale. And bring your arms out in front, stack your forearms, and either rest your forehead on your forearms, or maybe your stacked fists. Or maybe you can bring your head all the way down to the mat. Everybody is different, no one's watching, I can't see you, so it really doesn't matter what you're doing, as long as you're not hurting yourself. I'm going to quickly flip over. If you're enjoying pigeon, stay right there. If you would like to do the figure 4 stretch, you will be on your back. It doesn't matter which leg you do, as long as you remember which one and switch. Just bring your ankle just below your knee. Connect low back to mat. And then if it feels okay, just begin to take this foot off the floor, drawing your ankle a little closer to you. You'll feel a pretty good stretch in your glutes and hip area. Whenever we switch over the pigeon, you will just come down and switch legs. So just pay attention to what side you're doing so that you can get to both sides. If you're in pigeon, we'll be here for a few more breaths. So just take one more breath in. And slowly begin to make your way upright. If you're enjoying the stretch, you can stay a little longer. So remember, if you are on your back, just release your legs, maybe windshield wiper your knees side to side. And then whenever you're ready, try figure 4 stretch on the opposite side. If you're coming with me in pigeon, you'll just extend back to downward dog. Maybe walk the dog here for a breath or two. And shift yourself forward into that plank. Bring your right knee in, hover, and then place that knee to the inside of your right hand. Release the foot to the inside of the thigh and extend your left leg back. And initially, make your way to this upright pigeon. And as you exhale, just slowly work your way down here, coming into the full expression of the pose. You can stay on the forearms also, that is another option. Keeping a straight back. Or otherwise, go ahead and lower your head down. Find some support for the forehead, be it your arms, your fists, or the mat. Breathe into that sensation you feel in this right hip area. Take one more breath here. And then slowly make your way upright, feeling the stretch more in this hip flexor now on the other side, the psoas muscle. So we'll be making our way down onto the front. If you're in pigeon, place your hands down. And just briefly once more come back and walk the dog. If you were laying on your back, try to find your way to a seat and then maybe come to a tabletop position. So if you're in downward dog, we will also come to that tabletop position. And then slowly begin to lower forward, making your way down onto the mat. We will briefly rest in crocodile for a few breaths. So find some support for your head, either rest on your forearms or on the mat. Bring your feet about mat width apart. And just enjoy a few breaths in crocodile. It's a very open posture. It allows a lot of room in the abdomen, so the diaphragm has free movement. So you should be able to breathe some nice, slow, deep breaths. So bring your feet closer together, tops of the feet down on the mat, and extend your arms out in front. So your body's stretching nice and long. And just begin to draw your arms in, keeping the forearms down on the mat, palms spread wide on the mat. And just bring your arms in until your elbows are either underneath your shoulders or just a little forward, connecting palms and forearms to mat. I want you to tuck your tailbone. So engage the glutes so that your tailbone tips down towards the mat. You will feel some support for the low back if you do that. Feet are pressing down to the mat. And then kind of pull back on your arms, pulling the chest forward. What you want to avoid is collapsing down. So kind of as you pull back on the forearms, also push up, so that you keep yourself nice and tall here. Chest is open. We are in a back bend. This is Sphinx. There is a lot going on here. We will be holding this for several breaths. So what will help your back is pushing that tailbone into the mat. Maybe draw your shoulder blades in a little bit, opening the chest. Gaze can be straight forward, but if you prefer, just allow the chin to fall. And then do some half circles here. Moving chin to one shoulder, across your chest, and coming to the other shoulder. Exhale as chin passes across chest. Inhale as it makes it towards your shoulder. Moving with your own breath. Try to stay here for 3 more breaths. There's a lot going on here. It's not an easy posture. If you do need to release earlier, please do so. Maybe come back to that crocodile. Take one more slow breath. And as you exhale, just begin to release down. Maybe resting head on your hands, perhaps bending your legs here at the knees and just allowing feet to rock from side to side, giving a little release to that low back. and just lowering your legs. We'll briefly just push up to child's pose. So just come up through a tabletop, take your time. Your low back may feel stiff. Bring toes in, knees out, and slowly sink back into child's pose. Easy way in. Just giving some release to the low back with that counter posture. And then easing your way back up onto your hands and knees. Find a seat in the center of your mat. We will finish with a reclining twist from side to side. So make sure you're seated in the center of your mat so you have mat behind you, and slowly just kind of roll on back here. Maybe just gathering your knees, place hands on your kneecaps. Just massage the low back here with some knee circles, taking both knees in one direction. And then at some point just pause and take your knees in the opposite direction. Hitting all 4 points of that mid and low back area as you circle. And then keeping your right knee in, extend your left leg long. Take your right arm out to shoulder height. And use your left hand to guide that knee over, across and down to the left. Make sure your foot makes contact with the floor. If low back is tight, you will want to keep knee and hip in line. If you have more flexibility in your low back, you can take this left hand and just gently add a little extra pressure, bringing that knee closer to the mat. Gaze can be straight up at the ceiling, or you can turn the head and look out at your right hand, depending on how that feels in your neck. So from here, we'll be rolling a little more onto our side so that we can actually get this right knee down. So I want you to think about just shifting your hips back behind you a little bit, rolling more onto your side till this knee comes down to the mat. Arms out at shoulder height. So what I want you to do is, as you exhale, bring this back arm forward as if you're closing the pages of a book, and come palm to palm with the left. As you inhale, sweep this arm back behind you. Maybe the hand reaches the floor, maybe not. Exhaling, closing the book. Inhaling, open the book. And just continue here with your own breath. And the next time your palms are together in front of you, pause. And we'll take this top arm and make some arm circles. As long as it feels okay in your shoulder, circle the arm up overhead, back behind you, sweep it over your hip till it meets the left hand, and then just continue here with these slow circles. If that does not feel good in the shoulder, go back to the opening and closing the book, or perhaps just rest here with palms together or with that right arm behind you. So plenty options here. If you are circling, just continue for a little bit longer. And the next time the arm is open behind you, pause. Allow that arm to get heavy. Maybe that hand makes it down to the floor, maybe not. But just allow it to open that shoulder. Again, turn your gaze up or out to the right. and breathe. And then whenever you're ready, just slowly make your way onto your back. Shift the hips a little bit just to level them off. Just maybe take a moment to allow knees to fall from side to side. And then just bringing the legs to stillness. Gather your left knee in, extend right leg long. Left arm out to shoulder height. Use your right hand to guide this left knee over, across and down to the right. And again, make sure foot makes contact with the floor. But if low back is tight or if you have issues with the hips, just keep knee and hip at the same height. Arms spread out at shoulder height. If you want a little more twist in the low back, take your right hand, gently place it on your left knee and ease that knee closer to the mat. If you feel anything at all in the low back, just back off and bring the knee a little higher. Gaze can be straight up or you can be looking out towards this left hand. And then beginning to roll onto one side here. Shift your hips back behind you a little bit and roll forward until your knee can contact the floor. So now your knee is the anchor for this twist, so most likely your shoulder will not be down on the mat. Right arm is out in front, palm up, and just go ahead as you exhale, sweep this left arm over, coming palm to palm with your right hand. As you inhale, opening the pages of the book here, bringing this left hand behind you. And just continue with your own breath, moving this arm forward and back. Exhaling as you close the book. Inhaling as you open the pages. And the next time the palms are together, just pause. And if it feels okay, begin to circle this left arm up and back. And then sweep it across your hips. Sweep it over the right hand and just continue circling overhead and behind you. Remember your options if this doesn't feel good. You can just continue opening and closing the book, or maybe just hold that twist with arms at shoulder height. If you are circling, just continue for a few more breaths. And the next time the arm is open behind you, just pause there. Enjoying this twist for 1 or 2 more breaths. Slowly begin to make your way onto your back. Level off your hips. Okay, maybe take a moment just to allow the knees to gently drop from side to side. So we have come to our Shavasana portion of the practice. If If you're enjoying these windshield wipers at the knees, just continue for another couple breaths. If you are ready to restore, find a comfortable position, perhaps reclining bound angle, or perhaps feet flat on the mat with knees bent and allowing knees to kind of come in and support one another, perhaps resting hands on the belly. Or maybe traditional Shavasana with legs extending, arms by your side, maybe drawing the shoulder blades in. Just allowing arms and legs to roll out to the side. Or any other position where you may be comfortable and you know you can just relax for the next couple of minutes. Come into some slow, deep breaths. And just mentally scan your body. Where can you soften? Where can you release? What can you let go? Just let that tension melt away. Allow the earth to support you. Pay attention to where you feel those contact points with your mat. Take an inhale breath. And as you exhale, just melt into those contact points. Just allow your breath to come naturally without too much thought. Just try to keep the mind quiet. Thoughts will enter. Just try to let them pass. Begin to make some small movements, bringing your attention back to the present moment. Perhaps circling wrists and ankles, or maybe pointing and flexing the feet. Perhaps come into a full body stretch for a breath or two. Or maybe you have a favorite side that you would just like to roll onto that side. I'm going to take a few breaths here. And then taking your time whenever you're ready, just slowly transition to a seated position. And when you do make it there, Just sit comfortably. Maybe your eyes are closed. And whenever you're ready, we'll close the practice by taking an inhale breath, sweeping arms out and up. Gather all that positive energy. Draw it to heart center. Thank you so much for joining me in this practice today. I hope you enjoyed it. The light in me honors the light in all of you. Namaste.